Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. This time we're diving headfirst into Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights.
Ah, yes, Wuthering Heights, a classic.
A classic with so much to unpack. I mean, the excerpts you all sent in already have me completely hooked.
Well, let's see if we can't pull out some of the big themes and maybe even discover some fresh perspectives.
All right, so to start things off, I've got to say Bronte's setting of the stage is just brilliant.
Oh, absolutely.
We've got these two incredibly distinct locations right from the get-go, Wuthering Heights and Thrushcross Grange.
Such a stark contrast, right?
Totally. And you really get a sense of the central conflicts of the novel through these places.
Yeah, Wuthering Heights is all exposed up on those wild, desolate moors, almost a character in itself.
And then there's Thrushcross Grange, all refined and domestic, almost representing societal expectations.
It's like Bronte is setting up this battle between passion and societal pressures right from the start.
And then we meet Lockwood,
Ah, yes, the newcomer.
renting Thrushcross Grange from Heathcliff, no less, and we see everything through his eyes initially.
Right, he's our outsider looking in.
And he even describes being attacked by a pack of dogs set upon him by Heathcliff and Hairton when he first arrives at Wuthering Heights.
Oh, yeah, talk about a rough welcome.
What do you make of those first impressions?
I think Bronte's giving us a warning sign.
Ooh, I like that.
This is not going to be a world of easy answers.
Right.
This is a family tangled up in generations of love, betrayal, revenge.
Talk about heavy stuff.
And I think the dogs, well, they almost foreshadow the brutality of the conflicts that are going to unfold.
And then, of course, there's Heathcliff himself.
Mysterious Heathcliff.
Mysterious is right. Even his arrival at Wuthering Heights is shrouded in this cloud of uncertainty.
We know he's a street urchin taken in by Mr. Earnshaw, but where did he come from? Who is he really?
Bronte keeps us guessing.
And right away, he's disruptive, the catalyst for so much tension.
The family's reactions are so fascinating.
Hindley is instantly resentful.
Yeah, he really takes an immediate dislike to Heathcliff.
Catherine, though, she's drawn to him almost magnetically, you could say.
Yeah. And Nellie Dean, our housekeeper, is just trying to make sense of it all.
Poor Nellie, just trying to hold it all together.
I know, right? But this lack of clarity around Heathcliff's origins, I mean, it really adds to his outsider status.
Fuels his intensity, too.
For sure, and you can't help but feel a little bit sorry for him at times, especially seeing how Hindley treats him.
Oh, absolutely. But then things get really complicated.
Yeah, when Heathcliff falls for Catherine.
That's where the real drama starts.
Because it's not just a simple love story.
Oh, no, not at all. This is a love that's all-consuming.
Passionate and destructive.
And then Catherine decides to marry Edgar Linton.
Which just throws everything into chaos.
It seems like she's choosing social standing over love right.
That's what it looks like on the surface. But I think Bronte's doing something much deeper here.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's so easy to judge Catherine's choice.
Right. But aren't we all shaped by societal pressures?
To some extent, absolutely. Think about the time period.
It was a completely different world.
Catherine is caught between genuine love for Heathcliff and the expectations placed on women in her era.
Choosing Heathcliff meant sacrificing security stability.
And her social standing.
Bronte makes us confront these really harsh realities of the time.
Yeah, the limited choices women had back then.
And it's heartbreaking because you can see how much Catherine is truly torn.
Then Heathcliff disappears for years.
And when he returns,
oh, he is a changed man.
Fueled by resentment and a thirst for revenge.
This sets off a chain reaction that impacts every single person in his orbit.
Like his marriage to Isabella.
Edgar's sister.
Driven purely by spite.
You can just feel the bitterness radiating off of him.
He wants to hurt everyone who wronged him.
But even in his darkest moments,
there are these flashes of the man he once was.
You see those glimpses of vulnerability.
And it makes you wonder, what if things had been different?
If Catherine had made a different choice.
If Heathcliff hadn't been consumed by revenge.
But the past is the past.
And Heathcliff is on a warpath.
And the next generation gets caught in the crossfire.
Hairton and Linton, they become pawns in his twisted game.
It's like this cycle of pain and trauma.
Heathcliff, consumed by his own suffering, just perpetuates it.
Inflicts that same pain on others.
Can anyone truly break free from the shadows of the past?
Or are we doomed to repeat the mistakes of those who came before us?
That's the question Bronte seems to be asking.
And one that we're going to keep exploring as we dive deeper into Wuthering Heights. And Bronte uses this incredibly vivid setting to really heighten all this turmoil.
Oh, the setting is amazing.
So it's Yorkshire moors.
It's bleak and wild,
yes,
so beautiful.
Right, it's like the symbolic landscape mirroring the characters' inner lives.
It reflects both the beauty and the cruelty of their world.
Definitely. And even Lockwood, as an outsider, he experiences this.
You mean like his dreams?
Yeah, those unsettling dreams, those almost ghostly encounters that he has.
Blurs the lines between reality and the supernatural.
Exactly. It's like Bronte's adding this layer of psychological depth.
Makes you question what's real, what's imagined.
And the impact of the past.
Like, can we ever truly escape it?
Especially when the past is full of so much pain and guilt.
Like Lockwood's dream where he tries to pull Catherine's ghostly hand through the window.
And it shatters the glass.
So chilling.
It really is. It makes you wonder if Heathcliff is haunted too.
Not just by Catherine's ghost, but by his own past choices.
By the what-ifs and the might-have-beens.
Absolutely. And speaking of Catherine...
Her declaration, I am Heathcliff.
Wow, that is a line that just stays with you.
It's so powerful, but there's this underlying sense of tragedy to it, too.
It captures the intensity of their bond, for sure.
But also this possessiveness, this almost unhealthy quality to their love.
And it foreshadows the heartbreak that's to come.
Because as much as they love each other,
they're ultimately incompatible with the world they live in.
Catherine wants more than just passionate love.
She wants security, she wants social standing.
Things Heathcliff can't offer her, at least not in the way that society dictates.
And that brings us back to social class.
Which plays such a huge role in this novel.
It's more than just wealth and status.
It's about the limitations placed on individuals based on their birth.
Bronte is criticizing the injustices of her time.
Showing how people are denied opportunities because of their circumstances.
We see it with Heathcliff, constantly reminded he's an outsider.
And with Catherine forced to make an impossible choice.
Between love and societal expectations.
And that choice leads to tragedy for both of them.
With ripple effects that are felt across generations.
Which brings us to that incredibly powerful scene.
You mean Heathcliff clutching Catherine's lifeless body?
Yeah, talk about raw emotion.
It's the culmination of everything Heathcliff's been feeling.
His rage, his grief, his obsessive love.
It's like he's finally won, but at what cost?
He's lost everything that truly mattered to him.
And yet, even in death, he can't let go of Catherine.
He's consumed by this desire to be reunited with her.
Blurring the lines between life and death.
And that's where those gothic elements come back in.
Right, the haunting presence of Catherine's ghost, those unsettling dreams.
This feeling that the past isn't really past.
It lingers, it shakes the present.
It influences the future.
Absolutely. And we can't talk about Wuthering Heights without talking about Nellie Dean.
Our narrator, the housekeeper who guides us through it all.
Nellie, she's such a fascinating character.
She's both a participant and an observer.
She's close to the family, knows all their secrets.
But she also maintains a certain distance.
Offering her judgments, her interpretations of the events.
But is she a reliable narrator?
That's the question, isn't it?
She's clearly fond of some characters more than others.
And her own experiences shape how she tells the story.
Which makes her human right.
Flawed, just like the rest of us.
Trying to make sense of this chaotic world.
Just like we are as readers.
And through Nellie's eyes, we see the consequences of Heathcliff's actions.
The damage he inflicts on everyone.
Even the younger generation.
Hairton and Linton.
They become victims in his twisted game of revenge.
It's almost like a Greek tragedy.
Where fate and circumstance conspire to bring about this inevitable downfall.
But then Bronte gives us that ambiguous ending.
Which leaves us hanging.
I love it. It makes you think about the fates of these characters.
Will Hairton and young Catherine break free from the cycle of pain?
Or will they be haunted by the ghosts of Wuthering Heights?
Makes you think about the choices we make.
Yeah, and how they can echo through time.
But even with all the darkness, all the turmoil, there are these glimmers of hope, right?
Oh, absolutely. Especially with the younger generation.
Hairton, for example.
He's been through so much.
Denied an education, mistreated by Heathcliff.
But he still has this inherent goodness.
And a desire to learn.
And young Catherine.
She sees past his rough exterior.
Recognizes his potential.
Their relationship, it's like a breath of fresh air.
A sign that maybe things can change.
Do you think they can find true happiness?
I want to believe it's possible.
Break free from the patterns of the past.
But Bronte doesn't make it easy.
There's still that sense of unease.
Those ghosts of Wuthering Heights. Literal and metaphorical.
Like the past can never truly be erased.
And that's what makes the ending so powerful.
Open to interpretation.
We can choose to believe that Hairton and Catherine will heal.
But we're also left wondering if the darkness will linger.
If it will continue to shape their lives.
It's the mark of a truly great novel, right?
It stays with you.
Makes you ask these big questions.
About human nature, about love and loss.
About the things that shape our destinies.
For me, one of the most fascinating things is the way Bronte uses nature.
Oh, yeah. The setting is so important.
Those wild moors.
They become a symbol of the characters' passions.
Their struggles, their isolation.
It's a landscape that can be both beautiful and brutal.
Just like the world they inhabit.
It's like the setting is another character.
Shaping the events, influencing destinies.
Makes you wonder, can we ever truly escape the places that have marked us?
The experiences that have shaped us.
Do they remain a part of us forever?
Big questions to ponder.
Well, you've definitely given us a lot to think about today.
It's been a pleasure diving into Wuthering Heights with you.
I feel like I have a whole new understanding of the novel.
It's a book that rewards multiple readings.
Every time you discover something new.
And that's what we hope you take away from this deep dive.
Go back to Wuthering Heights with fresh eyes.
Pay attention to the details, the symbolism, the layers of meaning.
Bronte has woven such a complex and unforgettable tale.
Keep asking those questions.
Keep challenging your assumptions.
Keep those conversations going.
And that brings us to the end of another deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, happy reading.